My Lord, notwithstanding that, the Latin maxim, ex nihilo nihil fit. You cannot build something on nothing. If the vice presidential nomination is void, as we've proven, then the presidential candidate's ticket collapse with it.
Now, my lord, Mr. JB's office as a parliamentarian is derivative, not substantive. He, by the virtue of the fact that he is a College of Humanities and Social Sciences president, becomes a parliamentarian. My lord, when the substance is taken away, the accessory follows. And I quote this Latin parlance: accessorium sequitur principal. That is, when the substance is taken, the accessory follows.
The camp from BBY, that's his lawyers, had raised a preliminary objection that they won't allow the Kwate guy to lead the case for the student. So, actually, initially, I didn't understand why, but Charlie, the Kwate guy is serious. So,
To resign as a member of parliament, one must comply with Article 96, Clause 1 of the SRC Constitution.
hello everyone and welcome back to this channel. Yes, the KNSC SRC elections keeps getting hotter and we are left with just 3 days to the election as at when I'm shooting this video. But Bernard Bosoma Yeboah, BBY, who happens to be one of the top contenders in this year's SRC elections, has been dragged to court. Not necessarily BBY, but his vice president, known as Nana JJB, was dragged to court. And once you drag the vice president, you have literally dragged Team BBY to court by a student known as Francis Kusi, who happens to be the petitioner. He petitioned the Judicial Council of KNSC SRC with so many statements and claims. And in fact, he was stating that he wants BBY to be disqualified based on certain premises, and I'm going to share everything with you. I'll also show you some videos of the court proceedings. I'll show you the aftermath of it. Guys, this is something you would want to watch. Please do want to subscribe if you are yet to do so. Like, and feel free to go to the comment section. Now, let's go to the nitty-gritties of today's issue. What happened? So, it's very simple. Now, Francis Kusi, who happens to be a student in KNUST, had to petition the Judiciary Council based on the fact that, according to him, the vice presidential aspirant of Bernard Bosoma Yeboah, who happened to be the immediate past president of a college known as COURSE, of course, he did his resignation. Now, why is this one very important? You see, in KNUST, before you go for SRC president or SRC vice president, if you currently hold a position, let's say you are a department president or you're a college president and you want to contest for SRC president, you are supposed to resign. If you're a department president, you have to resign before you contest. Now, but if you're a college president, what happens is that once you're a college president, you are also going to be part of the SRC Parliamentary Council. So this year is the 16th SRC Parliamentary Council. But that council, it is not automatic. You have to go there and swear an oath, and then you'll be part. And so, based on precedence, when people are going for SRC, they resign from, let's say, their college, and then they also resign from the Parliamentary Council.
And as such, the functions of the SRC Parliamentary Council, which composes of these presidents and general secretaries of the various colleges and JCRCs, are not the same as the functions they perform at their various constituent units. When they come to parliament, their functions they perform are not the same. So if they are there by reason of being elected by their constituent members only, then they should be there to perform those functions spelled out in their constitution, and not to take the oath of allegiance to perform the functions spelled out in the SRC constitution for them to pay their loyalty to the SRC as well as. So that is why before the swearing in, they are seen as president-elects or president from their various colleges, but not members of parliament, properly so called.
So in the case of BBY, his vice president had resigned, from being a college president because he's going for SRC. But the guy, it be like he no resign for the parliamentary. So that is where this student is raising his point that once he has not resigned from the parliamentary, it looks like the guy still has an office, and so he can't be eligible to contest for the election. And so they told Francis Kusi, the student, to go and bring his lawyer, BBY, to go and bring his lawyer. And interestingly, when you look at the statements that happened, there were three things. There was a petitioner, which is the student, the first respondent, which is the Nana JJB, which is BBY's vice president. And there was a third respondent, which is the KNUST EC.
My lords, may it please this honorable court, I am Ebenezer Ni Kwate, the Legal Affairs Commissioner of the SRC. And today, I appear before you as the first counsel for the petitioner, acting under the express authority of Article 66,
you should just be giving your name.
G. Rate me as my co-counsel.
Per Mauto Ami Avemi, member of the Legal Affairs Committee.
The first respondent.
Respectfully, my lords, Anochiwa Anochi Abnadokas, lead counsel for the first respondent, appearing with
Godwin Eji.
And Abigail Sewa Bimpa, co-counsels for the respondents.
And this is where things get more interesting. You see, in KNUST, the SRC, they have someone known as the legal commissioner. Basically, you have the head of the legal commissioner. Let's say if it comes to courts and those things, the SRC president for elect Sam Broadway, he could defend them with the BAB if it come court cases. So it be like the current SRC president, Francis Kane, right? KNF, Kane, Nana Francis, had his lead legal commissioner in the person of Ebenezer Ni Kwate, and he was actually the head of the legal commissioner. Now, according to this legal commissioner, he was saying that when the student found this issue and they presented it to him as a legal, commissioner, he gave the SRC EC an advice not to display the vetting results and that they have to deal with this issue, resolve it before they publish the SRC vetting results. But the SRC EC did not listen to the legal commissioner's advice and they went ahead to publish the SRC vetting results. So it be like the legal commissioner will check like a ball. So what happened was that everybody was expecting the students to bring a lawyer. If you need a lawyer, just go to law school. You'll get, the students are very good. You get someone to defend you, and So we're expecting the student to. So as we see, the student brought the SRC legal commissioner to come lead him for the court case inside. When you, the SRC legal commissioner, you were supposed to lead the EC in a situation like this because it involves the EC, and that is why you are an SRC, legal commissioner. So you for there plus them, but it be like chairman go there plus the students to hit them with the bar, and so it raised so many concerns on campus. But there was a very interesting clause that they were raising, and which has to do with the fact that, in fact, the SRC legal commissioner made some very, very important statements to challenge the whole argument, because even before they started the court case, the camp from BBY, that's his lawyers, had raised a preliminary objection that they won't allow the Kwate guy to lead the case for the student. So, actually, initially, I didn't understand why, but Charlie, the Kwate guy be serious. So,
Counsel for the petitioner. Please, let's hear your submission.
Respectfully, my lords, permit me to raise a preliminary objection. Respectfully, our preliminary objection is to contend the capacity of the Legal Affairs Commission of the SRC to be the representative for the petitioner on the following grounds. The Legal Affairs Commissioner has a constitutional duty to defend the Executive Council. My Lord, Article 31.3 of the SRC Constitution 2021 as amended provides that the Legal Affairs Commissioner shall be the chief legal counsel of the Executive Council. Also, the Legal Affairs Commissioner under Article 31.4 shall represent the Executive Council at all Judicial Committee hearings under the SRC. My Lord, the respondent, second respondent for that matter, as a legal commissioner, is a member of the Executive Council pursuant to Article 19.1I of the SRC Constitution. Article 22.12a XII states that the President shall appoint persons to occupy the head of the following offices, which the Electoral Commission is also part. By purporting to represent the petitioner in an action against the Electoral Commission, my Lord, it's frivolous because it violates Article 31.3 and 31.4 of the SRC Constitution, which mandate him to be of legal duty to the Electoral Commissioner, my Lord. Therefore, we pray that this court sustain this preliminary objection and bar the Legal Affairs Commissioner from representing the petitioner in these proceedings. The petitioner, if desirous of pursuing this matter, should be directed to obtain an independent legal representation in accordance with fair hearing standards. Respectfully submitted.
Now, like the way the Kwate guy, they talk, like the way he speaks, the way he raises his concerns, the way he addresses issues.
My Lord, the first respondent objects my capacity to bring action on behalf of the petitioner, citing lack of standing. The objection is misconceived and must be dismissed. Pursuant to Article 66, Clause 2, Paragraph G of the SRC Constitution 2021 as amended, is to the effect that the Legal Affairs Commissioner...
Relax. We are also going through so that you should also relax for us so that we can find the provisions you are talking
Article 66, Clause 2,
Yes.
Paragraph G
Yes.
of the SRC Constitution expressly states that the Legal Affairs Commissioner may represent any student who is a party in a case before the Judicial Committee, except in cases involving Executive Council. My Lords, this present case does not involve an Executive Council. It involves a private student, that is the petitioner, a candidate in the election, the first respondent, then the Electoral Commissioner, an independent body under the SRC. My Lords, Article 10 of the SRC Constitution 2021 as amended guarantees the independence of the Electoral Commissioner. And again, in the case of the Legal Affairs Commission versus the Union of Non-Residential Constituency and Electoral Commission, where the respondent in that case, the first respondent in that case, raised the issue on capacity, that the matter also affected the Electoral Commission, who they said was an executive at the time. This honorable court interpreted further to affirm that where the Judicial Committee upheld the capacity of the Legal Affairs Commission to initiate and represent action, the committee held that the Legal Affairs Commission bears the constitutional responsibility of safeguarding the conformity of all constitutions and governing documents of student bodies with the SRC Constitution. It's logical to follow that in discharging this constitutional mandate, the Legal Affairs Commission has the inherent right to enforce the provision of the SRC Constitution. This honorable court went on to state that the Legal Affairs Commission is composed of students, and as such, its members individually falls within the category of any student contemplated under Article 3, Clause 1 of the SRC Constitution 2021 as amended. Furthermore, the court concluded that the petitioner possessed the petitioner at the time, the Legal Affairs Commissioner, possesses the prerequisite capacity to institute this action, and the preliminary objection that was raised by the respondent then was dismissed. Therefore, my representation in this present case is valid, lawful, and constitutional. I respectfully urge this honorable court to dismiss the preliminary objection and proceed with the merits of the case. Humbly submitted, my lords.
Nah, bro, this guy be some solid lawyer for there. So initially, then I know the bab why the team BBY them are lawyers they raise preliminary objection, and but later we are come see. But the legal commissioner was saying that from the constitution, it is his right to defend the students, except in a case where in whatever courtroom they are, an executive member is involved, and that was where the whole clash started from. Because what Team BBY lawyers were saying was that in this scenario, the EC is part of the executive council, and so you, the legal commissioner, you cannot neglect the executive council to be with the students to champion the fight against your executive, because from the constitution it gives you, the legal commissioner, the right that fine, you can defend a student, but in a situation where you are going to court and you have an executive body as part of the whole issue at the courtroom, that one you are not allowed to lead the student. You have to be with the executive body. And he was raising the point that the EC is not part of the executive body and that is an independent body. But the judges at the end of the day had to actually rule on this particular issue, and they had to just take out the EC out of the whole court ruling and say that, okay, then in this case, this court that you guys have come, we are just going to make it Team BBY versus the student. So that we'll put the EC aside, because from the judges, the EC is still part of the executive. And so they had to squash the EC out of the whole courtroom case and now make it BBY versus the Francis Kusi. And that was where things became bloody. Listen to these submissions from the lawyers.
So, my lords, Article 46(1) talks of the mode of becoming a member of the SRC Parliament, aside being there by virtue of the constituency you represent, as it talks of the oath of allegiance and the oath of member of parliamentary council set in the third schedule of the constitution. So if that is so, to resign as a member of parliament, one must comply with Article 96, Clause 1 of the SRC Constitution. As Exhibit A shows, the Speaker admits in a petition to the Dean of Students that the first respondent, or the respondent in this case, refused to submit to him, the head of the Parliamentary Council, his resignation as a member of Parliament. And, my lord, that is where we are basing our argument, to say that he never resigned as a member of the 16th Parliament when there was a public notice of his resignation as course president published by his judicial chairperson. My lord, the disqualification of the first respondent, if granted, necessarily invalidates the entire presidential ticket based on 3 reasons. The joint ticket principle. Under the SRC, the presidential and vice presidential candidates are not separate entities. They run as one. So if the vice president is disqualified, the presidential candidate cannot proceed alone, because the dole is legally recognized as one candidate for electoral purposes, such as even the display of the candidates on the ballot screen on the day of election. Again, my lord, this honorable court has already ruled that the running mate's disqualification voids the presidency candidates My Lord, in my diligent search for the full citation of the Eduba Charles case, my Lord, we came across social media posts at the time and also display of vetting results at the time of Eduba Charles case in 2008, in which, my Lord, we will display on the screen very soon.
Relax. Did you send those, what you are talking about, the vetting results, did you send them to my registrar, or did you send them to the...
My Lord, in my diligence...
No, did you? Yes.
My Lord, I chanced on those media pictures this morning, and I sent it to the mode, my Lord, you asked us to display the exhibition. We sent it to the number you gave us to send our exhibits to, my Lord.
They are not the respondents. Like, don't you understand? I'm trying to say that the respondents should have been aware of any evidence you are trying to tender.
So as you can see, as I told you, the new Kwate guy, Charlie, the guy know the joke for the courtroom. Oh. This guy is defending the students with his last. Like, I don't know whether, at a point, it felt like he get issue plus BBY. But, he's just doing his job. But, bro, the way your man, they give the Latin words. Watch this one.
My Lord, notwithstanding that, the Latin maxim, ex nihilo nihil fit. You cannot build something on nothing. If the vice presidential nomination is void, as we've proven, then the presidential candidate's tickets collapse with it.
No, we were talking about the evidences. So it means that you are not tendering it?
On the Eduba Charles case, I'm not. Yes,
okay.
yes, please.
Proceed.
Humbly submitted, my Lord.
Well, as he give the Latin words, BBY's lawyers will also reply with Latin words. I say, wow, Charlie, SRC presidency, Charlie, then they fly Latin words here and there. It wasn't easy. Everybody was showing what they can do at that particular very day. And in fact, it was very interesting watching that particular court ruling. But at the end of the day, the judges had to rule in favor of BBY, and they had to keep the BBY ticket, still in the KNUST SRC presidential run.
There is no requirement for an additional resignation process. In essence, while Article 96 applies strictly to the SRC officers without independent constitutions, those who serve under distinct constitutional orders, such as the ISA, Obuasi, and the colleges, vacate both their executive and parliamentary roles upon resignation from their primary office without the need for further invocation of Article 96. Accordingly, I hereby declare that the petitioner validly resigned by virtue of his resignation at the college level.
And hence, the students lost the keys. But you see, the legal commissioner had to come out to drop a communique on X, because I think a lot of messages were getting to him. People felt whatever he was doing, probably he had a political influence from somewhere to try and terminate BBY. But the guy had to make it very clear that he was just doing his legal work. And this was what he dropped on X. So, Osajefu Ebenezer ni Kwate Kwepi. Charlie, that guy be hard. Or say, dear all, as Legal Affairs Commissioner, I have a constitutional duty to uphold, protect, and defend the SRC Constitution. This includes representing a student who engages me in judicial matters. While I acknowledge that some reactions and private messages suggest the recent petition was politically motivated, I respectfully clarify that I acted in my professional capacity. I took on this case as a client brief. This is the work I've been tasked to do or been trained for. To me, this was a legal action rooted in the constitutional accountability and respect for the rule of law. More importantly, it was a valuable learning opportunity, a chance to test our structures and ensure our processes remain fair and transparent. The Judicial Committee has now spoken, and I fully respect the ruling. However, let us not lose sight of a key point. Student democracy thrives when the Constitution is tested, interpreted, and enforced, even when the outcome may not align with our expectations, mine or my client. We may differ in opinions, but we should not differ on the importance of due process. His Lordship Ekogate has ruled that Article 96 of the SRC Constitution does not apply to individuals such as Nana Ejejebi, whose office was created under the court's constitution, but clerk and some others. The court held that upon his resignation as course president, his mandate in the SRC Parliament was extinguished. I accept the ruling in good faith and encourage all of us to keep deepening the democratic and legal culture of our campus. Thank you, KNUST, Ebenezer Ni Kwate Kote. So yes, that was the lawyer for the student who happens to be the KNUST SRC legal commissioner. For me, I think he did a good job actually. He did a good job. Just that how he prepared himself to face BBY and also face the EC was where things were a bit strange, because it looked like your man, of course, if the EC had brought a different lawyer, he will still deal with the two of them, or like I found a World Cup. Can like he take the 10 World Cup too much, Charlie. But anyway, after the whole court proceeding, BBY dropped the video. This is the video. Now, today, BBY says they will address the entire student populace tonight. And hopefully, we get to hear what he will say. I pray they stream this online so that I can react to this. And of course, he's going to address these matters arising. But most importantly, when things like this happen, especially when you try to disqualify someone and he ends up coming back on the ticket, it resonates a lot of sympathy related votes. These whole sympathy votes, they do play a key role on KNST campus. But then, is BBY most likely to gain momentum aside his fan base? And in conclusion, some sympathy voters? Let's see. We need to see how things will unfold. And I'm itching to hear the kind of stuff he's going to say. Well, once again, this is the whole court-related issues that propelled with regards to the 2025 KNUST SRC elections. My name still remains Alexander Nyakon, just call me SRC. Go to the comment section, let me still know what you have to say. Until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, it's bye for now.